What's up everyone, MGR here, and today we are discussing Drifting Luminescence, the Kokomi banner. Just some thoughts, opinions, some light discussions, and just going through everything before the banner drops. And to be honest, I was gonna give this banner a hard skip and going to blow my primo load on this banner.
What? Why would you say that?
Trying to get Kujo Sara constellations. But then MiHoYo goes and pulls this nonsense.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not gonna lie.
And gives us some of the best 4-star support characters in the game, best 4 stars in general in the game, and they put her on this banner. So therefore I was going to skip this banner, but now I'm going to be hard wishing on this banner. But let's start with Kokomi herself. Am I wishing for Sangonomiya Kokomi? That answer is a no. On my account at least, I have more than enough healers. I have Bennett, Jean, we even have Barbara, and the great support kitty herself, Diona. So at least for me, justifying spending the primo specifically for a 5-star healer, I just can't do that. The fact of the matter is, eventually you're going to lose a 50-50 somewhere, eventually you're going to get a Chi-Chi or a Jean, and they do basically what Kokomi does in terms of healing. They have great burst heals, and they keep your characters alive even while they are on the field normal attacking. So Sangonomiya Kokomi is hard to recommend. That is especially considering the fact that it is well known by now that she loses all her crit rate.
What?
At a certain level. I believe it's going to be part of one of her Ascension passes maybe. So in terms of damage scaling, she will have basically none. The only thing I can think about how MiHoYo wants to play this out is giving her a massive scaling on maybe her normal attacks or increased buff during her burst, but that's about all. I can't really think. This is going to be a hard support healer that's going to be doing passable damage, and considering the way she looks like she's going to be played, having her on the field doing damage is going to be a large cost to your team's damage overall. I mean, if you have to decide between using Kokomi and Rosario or Beidou, the option is kind of obvious who you want on the field doing damage. I don't know, obviously making assumptions and predictions when she's not even in the game yet is very dangerous. Like I said, maybe she has something up those puffy sleeves of her.
I've got an ace up my sleeve
That will make her a great damage dealing unit on field that fills the gap you need her to fill. However, I'm not wishing on Kokomi, but on these 3, that's a different story. I've made videos on Shincho, Rosaria and Beidou. They are amazing characters, and as I said in the beginning of the video, probably some of the best 4 stars in the game. Currently, my Shincho is C3 and he ramps up especially at C4 and C6. The Tig Biddy Goth Nun herself, Rosaria, is at C2. And again, her C4 and C6 are amazing. And then the Queen of the Seas herself, Beidou, again C4, giving her 20% bonus electro damage, and C6, Bane of Evil, Electro Shred. So more damage and lower resistance for your enemies. It's a win-win situation. I didn't mention C3 or 5 with any of the other characters because we all know what they do. They increase your burst and your E by 3 levels. It's good, it's amazing. I don't need to talk about that anymore than what we already know about. So in conclusion, no, I am not wishing on Kokomi. I am wishing on this 4-star lineup, trying to get as much constellations as I possibly can. What has become a hard skip banner for me is now a hard must wish on. Of course, no discussion or recommendation video on banners will be complete without the disclaimer of please keep an eye on your pity. If you don't want Kokomi and you're close to pity, you cannot wish on this banner. I am fortunate, I am only 10 wishes into pity, so therefore I can afford to splurge a bit on this banner. I doubt I'd be getting Kokomi on soft pity.
Don't ever play yourself. Don't ever play yourself. Don't ever play yourself. Don't ever play yourself. Congratulations.
You played yourself.
But you'll definitely be hearing from me in a month or two with a Kokomi build if I do. On to the weapon banner. Really a copium strategy from MiHoYo right here. They are really trying to bait us in with the primordial Jade Cutter. Arguably the best sword in the entire game, at least one of the best swords in the entire game. I think this thing gives 45% crit rate at level 90, and its passive effect isn't something to ignore either. I think it gives like 1.2% attack buff based off of max HP, and it gives 20% bonus HP, so definitely that's a significant buff to damage. But of course we have the actual banner weapon, Everlasting Moonglow. It's really hard to recommend this thing. It has an HP substat. Disgusting! Which is not ideal for basically any catalyst user unless you want a super beef Barbara. And Kokomi, its passive effects are also a bit lackluster in my opinion. It gives you 10% healing bonus, which I mean Kokomi already heals I think quite a lot, and Barbara doesn't really need the extra healing bonus. She heals like a truck. And then your normal attack damage is increased by 1% based off of max HP. Even if you're running a 28,000 stack Barbara, that's only like a 280% normal attack damage buff, which would usually sound like it's amazing, but we're talking about Barbara and Kokomi here, two Hydro Catalyst users, and MiHoYo has pretty much already said that Kokomi is 100% a support healing unit. She's not there exactly for damage, and they pretty much made sure of that by giving her negative crit rate. Of course, and once again, we don't know the scaling on Kokomi's normal attacks, but given what we already know, there is only so much damage she can do. For the rest of the weapons on this banner, Stringless is, if you don't have one, definitely recommend it if you're going to wish for the Jade Cutter. The Flute, also not something I can write home about, got a mediocre passive effect. Gaining harmonics triggers the power of music. And deals 100% attack damage to surrounding opponents, but even taking into consideration someone like Xingqiu with 1500 attack, you'll only be dealing 1500 attack damage, which is not a lot of damage overall. Then you have Dragon's Bane, which pre-patch 2.1 I would have 100% recommend for characters like especially Xiangling, but we now have the Catch, which is just so much better in every possible way. It makes it really hard to recommend Dragon's Bane in any capacity since we have the Catch. Favonius Codex is not a bad weapon overall in my opinion, and as a support weapon generating energy for your party. I don't have a Favonius Greatsword, but it has the same passive ability as the Favonius Codex. Again, not the worst thing if you're trying to generate energy for your party or for a specific character, but overall there are just much better claymores in the game. I know I've been bagging on the Everlasting Moonglow for quite a while, but you have to also consider it's in direct competition with the Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers. Dragon Slayers has an HP substat and a much better effect than Everlasting Moonglow if you're talking about increasing damage for your team. Remember, on switching from a Catalyst user that has Thrilling Tales to your DPS character, they're gonna have a 48% increase in attack. For a DPS unit, that's absolutely massive.
That's what she said.
So in closing, with the Everlasting Moonglow again being in direct competition with Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers, it's a really tough choice to recommend this banner to anyone. The only top picks being Primordial Jade Cutter and Stringless, but as everybody probably already knows, the weapon you wish for is not going to be the weapon you're going to get. In past banners, if you've been wishing for the event exclusive weapon, you always tend to get the other weapon, and in this case the other weapon is a great weapon to get. It's arguably the weapon you want to get, but RNG being the fickle thing it is, you're gonna get the Everlasting Moonglow if you're trying to wish for Primordial Jade Cutter. I don't make the rules, that's just how it works. And yes, we do have the epitomized path, which you can choose the Primordial Jade Cutter for, but at the end of the day, that means you're still going to be wasting a maximum of 160 wishes trying to get this built up to get the weapon. You have to decide if that's worth it for you, but honestly, I'm not going to take the chance. I'm a low spender in the game, so every bit of primo I get is going to be put into banners that I actually want things of, and I get max value from. Closing comments, I am not wishing for Kokomi, I am wishing for these 4 stars. If you're also going for the 4 stars, please keep in mind where your pity is at. It's never fun losing your 50-50, or in my case even getting a character you don't want on your guaranteed. But I'm definitely not going to be skipping on these great 4 stars, and like I said, I'm in a nice position to actually be able to splurge a bit on this banner. But always keep in mind, if you love Kokomi's design, if you love how she is in the game, love her character, I personally love her voice. Her voice actress sounds amazing. If there's anything that appeals to you about this character, feel free to wish on her. She is still going to be a great healer in the game, and even now with the current Abyss, it's clear that miHoYo is taking a turn for healers to be more prominent, especially the new Spiral Abyss stage. I think it's stage 11 with the corrosion. And if you believe some of the naughty teasers we've been getting...
You naughty, you teasing me, you naughty.
Or I should say unofficial teaser, we might be getting an enemy soon that causes bleed damage through shields, which will definitely give a big priority to healers on your team instead of shield units in the future. Take that with a grain of salt, that's just what I've been hearing through the grapevine. If you found it informative or you enjoyed, please consider liking and subscribing, that will greatly support the channel. For anyone pulling on Kokomi, I hope you definitely get her. For anyone pulling constellations, I hope you get the max you are able to. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day or night wherever you're from. MGR out.